Hello, dear friends. The real action always happens behind the scenes, and what happens in front is almost always a distraction, says Poetok. Opinion piece, full disclosure, transparency, cosmic revelation, unknown territory, terrain assessment, cats up the sleeve, there is a secret date, massive rise of the crazies. Leaders don't accept disclosure. Trump and Xi negotiate a Jubilee. First official landing would be at the UN. Letter thought. To disclose means to publish, announce, spread, or make something available to the public. The opposite would be the cover-up, the secrecy, the concealment, and the silencing to which we are already too accustomed. The concept of full disclosure requires that all information affecting a society be revealed, ensuring transparency and helping stakeholders make informed decisions. This principle upholds the integrity of reporting and fosters trust and accountability. According to the Ashtar command via Neva Gabriel, those on Aldebaran, as members of the transition teams, are collaborating on a grand plan for full disclosure that is up against another very slow and exhausting plan proposed by the elite, aware that there is no other way to escape reality. Many of these encounters are exhausting, with diplomatic representatives on Earth, as well as with their transmitter, although they often occur on the etheric planes of the planet. Memories of these encounters remain vivid when they return to their body, as do negative impressions from those who try to refute their instructions. Slowness. The controller suggested that if there really was nothing to do, the ideal would be a slower disclosure, taking more than 100 years to complete. Obviously, the Galactics vehemently deny this and will not tolerate much longer of deception and denial of their presence. Faced with many denials about full disclosure, those from Aldebaran then said, "Let's see if the people of Earth are not ready." So, at first, they planned several ground testing displays to see the reaction of the people, and as was not surprising, considering the significant increase in the level of consciousness, most people welcomed them and questions began to arise about what was happening in the skies. But in a calm and not panic manner, obviously they cannot come with their largest fleet yet, as this would also involve magnetic adjustments on the planet and could affect planetary biology due to the vibratory intensity of their ships. Little by little, they are modulating the frequency from low orbit and preparing a network of life for the approach of even larger fleets. Rejection. There are very few leaders willing to make a public and official disclosure about their presence. Leaders continue to refuse full disclosure, which includes the disclosure of their presence, the true history of Earth, as it really happened, the cures already available for all diseases, and of course, that we were enslaved with upset leaders because they know the consequences they will have to face because all of this. The visitors from the stars would have several cards up their sleeve, and one of them is that they, along with their Earth allies, would apply a virus to the computer systems. If they continue to lie or even try to retaliate against people, this virus would activate and release all the information that is kept hidden about them, their collaboration with Earth history, and how they have kept in contact with non-federated races when they made abusive deals to hang them over as guinea pigs for genetic experiments. Activation plan. The Galactics have given specific date, and if they don't relinquish power and try to create further delays with false flag situations, they would activate this plan, which is called Plan Acti, which also covers some other areas which cannot be mentioned yet, to avoid risky situations for their transmitters. They have not informed their transmitter or anyone else of this plan, nor have they revealed the deadline they gave, for a simple matter of protection. The leaders would be further pressured by these fleets in the skies and would have to make the announcement. Otherwise, harsher measures would be taken, including the activation of Plan Acti. As for the full disclosure plan, they will also report everything in the major secret libraries, including those of the Vatican and their rituals. This would spread quickly. That plan would be aggressive, and they are trying to proceed cautiously, since many of their allies are in the line of fire, in addition to their transmitter being attacked by etheric plasma weapons that could cause significant mental disorientation and block the telepathic channel. Obviously, their protection is constant, but the free will of each one must also be considered, and at the slightest drop in frequency, when they succumb to the propagation of the darkness that surrounds them, a tunnel opens that makes their immediate protection difficult. Therefore, they continue to emphasize that love is the fastest and most effective path to liberation without further harm or disturbance. Their transmitter is not the only one they have prepared for this task. Discernment. These are turbulent times, and discernment must be very active, because just as they try to confuse the mind by creating false information about them, there are also people in our immediate circle and even in esoteric communities who could create false narratives to get commitment in their social environment. The outreach work they are doing also requires good discernment, especially for those they consider their allies, and they will need to be protected with reliable information to relay when great agitation begins to occur due to the first official pronouncements about the visitors from the stars. Sequence. A basic sequence after the official announcement of their presence includes the publication of the true history of Earth, Commander Ashtar communicating through all the media on the planet, the restructuring of important pillars of society such as finance, science, religion, politics, medicine, education, and others. Obviously, this doesn't mean that society itself does not need to get its hands dirty, so that everything goes as planned, because their presence will not exempt everyone from acting consciously and responsibly in the programs to improve life on the planet. Ethics, diplomacy, truth, love, and brotherhood are the basic pillars of the new programming of the Earth, and those who do not adapt to this transformation would be directed to other environments, and the visiting star would also be tasked with helping with the cleanup. Furthermore, they wish for their first official landing to occur at the United Nations, and although it may seem ironic, they wish to speak about the United Planets Organization and what they have planned for collaboration with the human species on Earth, where they will bring important information that needs to be heard and put into action before the Earth begins the physical movements necessary for its complete healing. It's time for urgent transformation, and the call has resonated throughout the solar system and beyond. These friendly visitors are joyful, but not less focused on everything that touches them as part of this transition process. And they also count on their allies who have made important commitments to them. Enough of confrontations, enough of hatred, enough of disloyalty, enough of lack of love. The cosmos calls everyone to brotherhood, and their presence is the sign that the Supreme Creator is about to sign the mantra of liberation from darkness. Summary by Fulford. According to Benjamin Fulford, the hot phase of a cyber conflict begins with the attack on Los Angeles. In his opinion, this means that an open struggle has begun between the white hats and the big corporations. The trees that were among the burnt houses are intact. If it were a forest fire, the trees would have burnt first. A smart city is being planned for Los Angeles, right where the fire burnt. Those who have ruled the planet for more than 20,000 years do not intend to disappear quietly. It must be ensured that those at the top serve the majority of the people. A high-level source wants that the dark side would do everything possible to prevent Trump from taking office on the 20th. The venue could be moved to another site for security reasons. In total, there would be about 25,000 law enforcement officers and military personnel on site to secure the inauguration. The real Trump has not yet decided whether he will attend. Anything could happen to postpone the inauguration. The dark side has prepared several backup plans. There is a big fight over Trump and his inauguration. The Supreme Court is still sitting on the Brunson case, which would mean an unavoidable conflict. This is what the real Trump promises, in quotes. I will sign orders on day one to end all the Biden restrictions on production, end its absurd electric vehicle mandate, cancel the ban on natural gas exports, and declare a national energy emergency. Trump says he and China's President Xi Jinping get along very well and have been communicating through his advisors. Trump and Xi are negotiating a waiver of all debts, or a Jubilee of all debts, and one-time redistribution of assets, according to Asian secret society sources involved in the negotiation. Neither country has any other choice because their current economic paradigms are broken. China's working-age population is disappearing as the country faces a housing crisis that has led to the collapse of its financial system. If we take the population figures for India and China from 1990, we see that in 2020 India's population is 1.43 billion and China's is 890 million. This means that China would be exaggerating its population by more than 500 million. Fear of India may be the reason the Chinese government took that country by the jugular. It approved the construction of a $137 billion hydroelectric project in a huge gorge in the Himalayas, where the Brahmaputra River makes a massive U-turn to flow into India and then Bangladesh. It didn't bother to inform those countries about the project that would dwarf any other infrastructure project on the planet, including the Three Gorges Dam in China, considered the largest in the world. Alternative news. 2 private lunar modules are headed to the moon on a round trip on the same SpaceX rocket. A golden age of artificial intelligence is predicted in the world. A Chinese robot dog runs 100 meters in less than 10 seconds. An innovative technique is developed in China that accelerates the extraction of rare earths. Ukrainian drones tried to destroy Turk Stream gas pipeline. They would have left Greece and other European countries without gas in the middle of winter. Solar storm. The sun has been silent for over a week. That is about to change. Two new sunspots have unstable magnetic fields that harbor energy for X-class solar flares. Don't be surprised if one of them explodes before the end of this week. Opinions. According to Colonel Douglas MacGregor, reality will prevail when it comes to Trump's claims that he would end the war in Ukraine in just 24 hours. X22 report. What everyone is witnessing is the destruction of the old God. The new God is taking over, and the hunt is about to begin. According to Leo Hohmann, the Third World War is not fought over ideologies, but over energy and natural resources, because whoever controls the world's resources will be free to impose whatever ideology they want. According to Charles Hughes Smith, the status quo is based on the belief that all the problems can be solved through technology, the market or government, or a combination of these three. But there are no systemic solutions, only partial and local solutions. According to Harley Schangler and Dr. Rainer Rothfuss of Germany, the war for humankind is intensifying as the old world order becomes increasingly tyrannical. As the tide turns against it, the world is resisting. According to Paul Craig Roberts, security agencies have long used the cloak of national security to avoid accountability. The practice of elevating senior officials to the privileged status of king or an aristocracy above the law and the constitution. According to Poet Dog, the avatar sweeps the planes above this one and forces the dark entities to come out of the material plane where he deals with them. Surely, you have noticed massive increase in madmen in recent decades. It is a matter of controlling evil by turning it into good. When the planes of the heart and mind are cleansed, what appears is clear water that takes temporary forms. What if you are not what you think you are? A hidden text forbidden for centuries states that there are three types of human beings: one destined for enlightenment, another condemned to destruction, and a third caught in a struggle between light and darkness. The three are those who live for this world, those who know there is more but may or may not be distracted by the shiny trinkets of this realm, and those who live for the next world. According to Coach Jerry, there are hundreds of news stories, images and photographs of burnt houses, but the bushes, shrubs, trees and pets were unharmed. Remember, Mel Gibson said his chickens survived. Also, the heat generated by a normal fire is very intense, but you often see firefighters and journalists standing next to a fire that is burning out of control. This burns from the inside out, like microwave technology. According to David Joseph Volodko, Western society is plagued by two almost opposite pathologies. When people feel so much empathy for others that they ignore facts so as not to offend or open their borders, or refuse to pursue criminals for fear of appearing racist, this is known as suicidal empathy. On the other hand, when they perceive themselves as eternal victims or nebulous forces, becoming increasingly disdainful of their own society and fellow citizens, this would be a victimhood mentality. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.